Well, greetings YouTube to my ongoing review series of the Avatar The Legend of Korra, or The Legend of Korra as it's now more formally known as because, well, lawsuits and James Cameron. But alas, we are on the but enough about, legalese stuff. We are on the 5th episode now of this first season of what was originally going to be a miniseries, and love is in the air. Yeah, I guess they inevitably had to do this for two reasons. One, it was set up from the get-go that there's a bit of a love triangle. I guess now we could say it's a love square, where you have Korra originally catching the eye of Bolin, who invites him in, and then she catches her eye is caught by Mako. And, there's your classic love triangle. And of course, the two brothers connect it because they're brothers. Not talking incest. But then they added a little even more to more complicate it. They added another character to throw in the mix, Sato, or Miss Sato, I should say, who Mako then gets attached to. So now they have even something with Korra getting jealous. So everyone's jealous of everybody else. They set up a very interesting love triangle, love square situation. And I guess the other reason they had to eventually address this is you're dealing with teenagers. Any show that addresses or has teenagers as the main character, it seems like they're obliged to cover like the love triangle, things getting complicated, kids making stupid moves when it comes to personal relationships. So it's almost like they have to fill out the quota. The only downside I think with this episode, in terms of you get the sense it's a filler episode where it should be feel more like it's central to the plot. The fact that you have these characters having to deal with this personal relationship, and the episode does have more of the feel of a filler. And I think they could have fixed this, and I think the events of this episode would have felt more stronger, or more important, I should say, if they had tied in Korra's action and Korra trying to get into a relationship more based on what happened to her and Amon. Her kind of fears and stuff like that, her kind of feeling vulnerable now that she decides to try to go and seek a more meaningful relationship with others. In that way, I think would have been an interesting way to tie everything together, because we would have gone, last episode, don't forget, last episode she was left in tears, crying. This really should have been more clearly linked that this is part of her having to deal with her fears, and part of that is that she doesn't want to deal with her fears alone. She wants someone that she wants to be able to connect with and handle this thing, which is a very healthy outlet for emotional distress. So I think they kind of ruined it for themselves by not tying it. It would also kept the main plot more into this episode, the main conflict. So I think they kind of missed out on that. They really should have emphasized a little bit more that this was Korra's now desire to get into a relationship with somebody was somewhat sparked by her having to deal with the Amon situation. I think that was a golden missed opportunity, and would have really kept this as really part of the overall story. Outside of being what I kind of feared last episode, saying that we're going to have some episodes that are just going to be probe-ending centric, other episodes that are going to actually be on the plot. So it looks like that's what they're going to do, although they pretty much wrapped up most of the tournament in this episode. So I guess we'll see. Maybe the probe ending will not be as centered later on the series, or later on the season, that it is right now. Because we got introduced to, the stereotypical. Right now it is following a lot of formulaic sport movie stuff. The stereotypical returning champions who are dominant, you can't beat them. And of course they're pricks. Yeah. Which is always funny, because, normally in real sports you don't see too many teams like continually returning to the championships. Look at football. Look at baseball. I mean, you have teams that are there much more frequently, but year after year, they tend to vary up a bit. I don't know, something I just wanted to point out. And unfortunately, because there wasn't a whole lot in this episode, I mean, we saw more of the pro bending. You get a little bit more sense of the rules for pro bending. Although, because they try to make every episode dramatic, every episode tends to end in, oh, we're losing, oh, we gotta knock them all out in the final round then. They do that several times, and now it's become just really a little formulaic here. I think they beat that horse a little too much. I guarantee you that's how the finale is going to go, or not the finale, but the final match. Unless they try to do a little bit more risky move and have them lose, and kind of go, kind of have to address Korra losing, going, hey, you did good though. I mean, it would have. I think for Korra as a character, I think it'll be interesting if they do, and have her team actually lose the championship match. Second place isn't that bad, and they could easily make the point of that as going, you guys are number 2. Did you really fail? Most people would say no, and then they could do. Dragon Ball did that great. In the original Dragon Ball series, Goku always lost the tournaments. He would come close, but he would normally lose, and he would continue to persevere on until eventually he actually won it. Let's see, anything else with this episode? No, like I said, it seemed like a filler. We've got some good characterization. There's character. Ooh, excuse me. There was character drama in it. It was somewhat interesting. I'm sure some people will like that element to it. But you know what the problem I think with that was? Everything got wrapped up in this episode. They really, I think, should have made this 2 episodes if they wanted to have this on this kind of beat of the love triangle. Have this conflict take more episodes to sort out. They could have had it where Korra, she starts going out with Bolin, who wanted this in the first place, to kind of have Korra as his girlfriend. They could have ended it on the episode, or they could have stretched out all that stuff a little bit more and ended the episode on the point where Korra winds up kissing Mako after Mako is kind of somewhat confessing that he has got feelings, but he's somewhat divided, with also having feelings for Sato, and kind of Korra just decides to go for it and kiss it, which actually I think is kiss him, not it. Which I think is very much in character for Korra. She seems like the person that would probably do that. Just go for it. And I think they could have ended it on that. And then, of course, having Bolin turn out to be right there. I think if they ended it with that scene and then had a next episode completely dealing with just them being divided, it would have felt like it had a little bit more impact. I hope everything's not completely wrapped up with this whole relationship stuff, because it feels like this is something that they were slightly building to, and I hope they have it that it affects these characters for at least a few more episodes before things really get sorted out. I have a feeling they might do the switcheroo and have Korra and Mako get together, and then have Bolin and Sato get together and kind of just trade for everyone's happiness. But maybe they won't. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I did not see advertised. This might have just been them forgetting to put it on. But I didn't see a preview for next week's episode, so I don't know what they're doing with that. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know if it's going to be a plot-centric episode, i.e., dealing with the Amon situation, or if it will be a pro-bending episode, and it's kind of wrapping. I have a feeling it'll probably be an Amon episode, just to kind of stretch out the length of the tournament there. You don't want it to end now and then not have to reference the pro-bending for the rest of the season, unless they kind of just, oh, that's over. Time for us to go back to the regular season. I mean, it could be like It could be like soccer or something like that. Well, I believe that is it for now. Wrapping on up. I hope you guys enjoyed the reviews. And keep on watching, and please subscribe.